Hey everybody, it's CV FREQS podcast, I think number 10, and it's my first Zoom podcast with my good friend Don Wahlbeck, all the way over in Stockholm, Sweden.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, you see Don in his studio there with lots of interesting things going on. So how are you? How the heck are you, Don?
I'm good. So no, yeah, I am.
Surviving. Well, basically, Don and I met in a really interesting way over at the Cymru Beats. Well, Cymru Beats. How do you say it?
Cymru Beats.
Yeah, Cymru Beats. The Welsh pronunciation. Back in 2016, we met there, and then
Yeah, you performed there.
yes, yeah.
And for me, it was my first ever event. I had seen on Sonic State that there would be something, and I was starting to look into Eurorack stuff. And at that time, I only had my multi-band distortion guitar and bass pedal. So I went there to have a look and brought my distortion in my backpack. I pulled it up and no one was the least interested at all. But everyone was so nice. And I met you and I met a few other nice people too. Also the first time I met Finley Shakespeare, among other people.
Yeah, Finn's awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta have him too, because I invited him to my university to play a show, and we don't have any footage of it, but that was in 2015. It was, I was just so amazed that he designed these modules, and he's come a long way in the past 5 years.
Yeah, and he's also become a pretty good performer. So I've seen him a few times.
Yeah, he's gonna be on our first compilation, the record compilation we're putting out. And I'm very excited that you've just confirmed that you're going to contribute a set to our live stream concert. How often do you play live?
Well, never, I would say. Because I don't consider what I do in this room as being live, really. It's a controlled environment in a way, and I know the stuff, and
Yeah, it's much different to do things at home than, well,
yeah.
I mean,
I was supposed to play live, wasn't I, at your event in London?
Yeah, you came to 2 or 3 of my events there.
Yeah, 3 of them, and then I was supposed to come and play at one of them, but I couldn't go because of family reasons.
It was so funny that time at the one event when my son was only a few months old and you were holding him there while you're showing people through your modules. I just
you wandered off, and I was there with your. Can you hold him for a while? Okay. And then you were talking to someone and forgot about it and wandered off, and I'm there with a kid on one arm and one arm to show my stuff, and then I had my son with me as well, and he was 10, I think, or something.
That was the second time you came to that venue at the House of Airs.
Yeah, and he was bored, so I had your kid and my bored son, and then I was trying to demo my modules. It was a nightmare, but it was fun.
Oh, were they both at the same one? Oh,
yes.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Crazy stuff, man. I don't know. It's so hard organizing them, just running around and doing everything. I can't believe I did that with that small, tiny infant. But London is addictive to doing things, but now he's already 3 years old. But so I have found out that I was going to have my son when I was doing the electro music EMS residency, and you hosted me for that, which was super awesome. We went to see the Buchla and Surge synthesizers there at EMS together.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, the big giant Buchla.
Yeah, so I did take a few photos at the time. So yeah,
old and new components.
Yeah, and I was fairly new to modular. I just had designed my first one, I think, at the time, and had a few, and then I took a few days off from work here and there, and joined you at the EMS. So I was kind of getting in the deep end.
Yeah, and you
So,
said you liked the Bucla better than the Surge.
yes.
Yeah. Why?
The sounds of the Buchla, I found them more organic, and the Surge I found had a flavor that was more like the transistor crappy things I was trying to build early 80s or that people built late 70s. But that said, I know a bunch of people who's doing amazing music with the Surge, but it just wasn't my thing. It's like when I've been trying to, for many years, I was trying to buy a Moog and tried them in stores and so on, and it wasn't my voice. And then I found this, the Minium One, and kind of resonated with me. So it's guitar is my first instrument, so I think that every instrument, even synths, too, are, well, you need to find something that works with who you are, sort of. It's a very personal thing.
Yes, indeed.
That's also one of the big advantages with the modular, because you can build exactly what you want according to your strange needs or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, that was so fun when I got to help you on Super Booth in 2019 a little bit, and playing with your distortion module. And it was funny because your patch was demonstrating like something about a hi-hat sound, and you had just isolated that one sound. And
Yeah, that was the shape module, the spectral enhancer thing. It's actually it's the number
oh yeah,
2 from let's see, it's I see it's mirrored, so it's the one next to the distortion, the one with the, yeah.
have a
So
lot of people taken onto that shape module.
yeah, there's been a few, and I mainly use it together with samples and stuff, and I've heard from some of the users too that they use it a lot with samples and street noises or whatever type of samples, because you can manipulate them in some interesting ways. So what it's doing, it's kind of a compressor limiter thing, and then it's basically the same circuit as my limit, but it's more compression in it. And the limit is a fairly transparent compression or limiter, if there is such a thing. And maybe I shouldn't go into this too deep, but what it's doing, compression, if you do audio rate compression, or the way it's doing it, you're actually adding some kind of distortion. And if you have a compression that is that seems to be transparent, the distortion you're adding is nice. All the upper harmonics are nice. Added upper harmonics are nice together with base material. So what I did, I did this shape module. You can isolate the newly produced upper harmonics and get them on a separate channel. So you kind of take away the base material, and you only have the new stuff.
Which could be useful for sure.
Yeah,
very
one
technical.
one thing, yeah, that's a bit technical, but if we go back to the use cases, the thing where it's really cool is when if you have, say, a drum loop, and then you slow that down, then you lose all the high end. Then you can dial that in, dial that back again. So you get the kind of the richness and the in the sample, even though it's slowed down to, well, very, very slow. And then it gets usable again in a different way. So that's one thing. Or you could separate the sound and run part of the sound to, say, a reverb and something else to something else. So that's all sorts of very creative ways you can use it.
Yeah, how do you get these ideas? I mean, I know you're an engineer and you work normally as something having to do with a phone company, right?
Yeah, well, the last 20 years I've been designing things for metro optical backbone systems. So the high capacity optical links in between cities and in cities and so on. Yeah, we basically do the equipment that packs the traffic into fibers and unpacks it in the other end.
So technical, and your modules are really, really technical too. And so they, you know, kind of reflect some kind of creativity and technical in a technical sense. It's just mind blowing. I have no idea because I'm not from engineering.
But if you ask me how do I get the ideas,
Yeah.
If we go back to this shape idea, way back in the 80s when I started trying to build stuff and my friends were starting to do their little home studios with tape recorders, 4-track tape recorders and so on. I heard about these oral enhancers and so on, and in the beginning you couldn't buy them, you could only rent them because they didn't want anyone to copy them, I guess. So back then I thought about how they did it, and I didn't think about it for a while, and let's see, was it last spring? Must have been. I was out cutting my plum trees. And then I got this idea, well, what if, okay, I'm cutting my trees, but what if I cut this away from a signal and do, and then I sort of had the full idea. So I went in, did a simulation, and it worked the way I wanted to. Simulation means that I could only see, if I put a signal in like this, you will get this out, looks like this. And I sent that over to my good friend Nigel Mullaney, and he responded, yeah, I get this. This is great. So yeah, so I just did that module.
It's cool.
Yeah, and I was talking to some other friends, and they said, well, now why do you do this? Why don't you do a normal whatever instead? But I don't want to do normal whatevers.
Yeah. Well, your wave folder kind of comes close to a little bit normal, although it has some different things about it. But I always like to see how it looks because you've got the little Mordex oscilloscope, and you show that how that one works really well.
Yeah, I needed to buy the oscilloscope to be able to demonstrate it to people, because it is kind of technical in a way too. But when you get it, it's actually a fairly simple module.
Yeah, that's why I like that one. I like the more simple ones. I mean, it's good to be able to spend a lot of time and learn how to use them, like we were talking last time about the eloquencer, and there's so much in there you can do with it.
Yeah.
And a few things on the surface you can get right away, but it's just great how much you can do. You could spend a whole month making like a symphony on that one. But
yeah, I have an eloquencer as well.
Yeah, I see it.
And, yeah, and to be honest, I haven't learned all the tricks you can do with it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a really good one.
I got your wave folder here. That's not patched in right now, but I patched your switch because I really like the new video manual you made just a few weeks ago. And that because the paper manual that you had come with the module was good and it had a few good patch examples, but to hear you actually discussing how, and what to put, and that you can put it both ways, like it's bi-directional. So I was always asking you, oh, so which ones are the ins and the outs? And you're like, well, it could go both ways. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and you can do a bunch of fun things with that. So what I'm going to do, I just recently got what's it called again? A pressure point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to use the switch as an expander for that. So if you have 3 lanes of something coming out from pressure points, so you can set it up to switch in between 2 lanes, and then you have more steps. Yeah, or you could do. Didn't I tell you? I was talking to Gas Williams the other day, because he also has a switch, and he asking me some things about how to use it. And I said, well, you could use it as a very simple drum machine thing, which I plan to do a video about. And it's I did a, let's see, I have it here.
Oh, the drawing, the sketch.
Yeah, drawing.
Yeah. Oh boy.
This is the way I communicate with people. So what I have here is you have 5 sounds coming in, and then you build kind of a switching tree with a switch module, and then the only thing you need is VCA and an envelope and a clock divider that runs the switches. So if you do that, this will be a super cheap, easy drum machine. And the sounds that come in, it could be anything. So it could be oscillators, it could be, I don't know, you can connect a radio to one of the channels, you could, whatever. And then if you just chop it up with short envelopes, it could be very interesting. So, yeah.
Wow,
I like
cool.
those simple patches as well.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, because you can do it quick. I like to spend a long time on it too, but always having to break down and now move things around quite all the time. But
yeah,
anyways.
moving things around. The first time well, not the first time I met you, but when you were here working on the EMS studio, we connected our 2 little systems, and as I come from the maybe a little bit more technical side, I was kind of annoyed by you when you were starting to connect like logic signals into the audio path, and then I realized this is really good. So when I patch, I usually do a combination of very deliberate patching from like ideas that I have, and then I when that's done, I get into what I usually call crazy patching or idiot patching, where you just move things around, like, oh no, this is not good, like change places of some of the cables, and then you can get something really interesting. So a combination of deliberate patching and yeah.
Idiot patching is not too nice, though. I would call it more experimental.
No, crazy patching, them, whatever. Yeah, whatever you would call it.
Yeah, when I first started, I was just completely didn't know what to do, just plugged everything in, didn't know any ins from outs, but it made sounds and it made great sounds. And I was like, this is crazy. It was all coming from that RCD, the 4MS RCD module. So I thought there was a ghost inside of it. I was like, and I called I sampled it. I just recorded the room of it, and I used that little sample of it kind of making a twinkly kind of weird robotic melody, and I called it the RCD Ghost. But that's just me being silly. But yeah, I mean, knowing how to do this stuff is much better, and manuals, yeah, very important for this stuff.
Yeah.
Let me just
Sometimes you get forced to read the manual. I bought a used Euclidean circle, and my son loved the blinky lights, so he started doing things, and then suddenly it kind of stopped working.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I had to read the manual to see how it's set up, and then I realized it's not what I thought. At a glance, I thought it was 3 circles. Then I realized, oh no, it's 6 circles. There's another layer behind it, and that module is something that I use all the time now.
Yeah, I like
really,
his
really
modules. I like him a lot, Vladimir, but I don't have his modules yet. But I really like the design and the drum one too. What's that drum machine? The 4 kind of drum quadrant he's got.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I haven't tried it.
I can't remember the name. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like his stuff. He came last year to the last CV FREQS before the events were all shut down. Yeah. So, but I can't wait to have another one, bring everybody together again over there. Has to be probably in London or maybe somewhere else, I don't know. But Super Booth this year, I'm highly doubtful we'll get to go. Maybe, but the way it's looking with the travel right now, it's just not looking too positive. So.
No, that's so sad. It is, because I do miss my synth friends and other friends around the world.
Yeah, I listened to a little bit of, you sent me the music of Zayak. What's his name? The guy from Zayak Devices. You sent me his music and I listened to Endangered Species.
Yeah, Tomek Mirt,
yeah,
of Chaos Devices. Yeah, that's another thing. I was trying to pronounce the name of the company, and then not too long ago, someone said, "Well, it's not Chaos Devices. It's Chaos because this XAOC is Russian letters, and then if you read it in
cool.
In English, it's chaos, and then devices, which is kind of cool in a way, but misleading.
Chaos.
I have a bunch of their modules, and my fourth ever module was a Batumi, and that's in the middle of more or less everything I do, because modulation it's key. And in it, I use the ability to trigger it or to clock it a lot. I used to do that with my beat step, but now I'm doing it more with the Eloquencer, because then I can see all the tracks. Because doing clocked modulation, say for filters or so on, I think that's really cool. So you can have, and also if you have uneven clocking, so you don't have, even clocks go triggering the Batumi, but you go some uneven stuff, and it's trying to follow, but it will never really be able to follow. But so it kind of limps with the modulation, and you can get some really, really interesting rhythmic stuff going that way.
Yeah, do you want to show your patch a little bit? What you got going on? Do you want to
Yeah,
play
well,
it tiny bit?
yeah, we'll see if I can get things to work. Then I have to connect.
I got he's got his PodMod t-shirt on, and I got my PodMod mask. I got just in case for Super Booth so that we can wear because Don did an interview with Pod Dealer Modcast. When was your interview with them? With Tim?
It was last summer.
Yeah, a while ago.
So yeah, so I'm on episode 65.
Oh yeah, wow, he's done so many. It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, just dark. Oh yeah. It's much better if I I guess.
There it is. Bring it in focus a bit.
There it's in focus. And let's see, can you see from here to, yeah, more or less, I guess.
There we go.
So shall I show you what I'm?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what I have going here. Yeah, it's a patch I'm working on. It's not completely done, but I'll show as much as I can. So I have some sounds going here, and if I take away the drums, so what I have is I'm using the switch as a keyboard split. So I don't know if you can see the green line that's jumping around on the scope.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the output from a touring machine.
Okay.
So it sounds, yeah. So that's just the rings doing that. And then I'm the yellow line, which I'm controlling with this one. Controlling that with the DC level that I'm doing from the AV1, because that can give you just steady voltages. So if I turn that up a bit, then all the low notes comes from my Chaos device Odessa, and so it's splitting the sequence. Or I can hold it and have just the Odessa all the time. And if I turn the latch on, then it goes every time it passes this trigger level, it goes a full cycle all the way up and down the scale. So it's a way of expanding just one sequence. And the thing I was talking about with the
shape.
Yeah, well, the shape is on the rings here, actually. So that's why these rings sound a little bit dirty. So it's this one. But if I add some drums, if I take away the melody and just to show you what I'm talking about with the drums. So what I have a fixed drum pattern, kick drum on one channel, and the other channel is clocking the Euclidean circle.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, and the reason for being kind of cool is that I have a channel. This is the trigger points for triggering the Batumi that's doing the filter modulation. If I turn off the filter modulation, it's just this.
Oh yeah.
And then, yeah, and then I add the kick drum that I won't mess with. I'll put back the filter modulation again. So the clocking for the Euclidean circle is 8 steps, or every second. But if I add a few steps here and there, it will be, the rhythm will be skewed in together with, yeah. Well, I also I have one of the switches set so I can reset the Euclidean circle and some other stuff.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
pretty
how interesting this is, but
interesting. Yeah, I always love to see what people are doing with it.
yeah, the cool thing is that this one sequence that is going to 2 oscillators, since it's switching in between them, it gets a little bit more variation. And then I could also go in and hold the switches if I want to lock it to one of the oscillators, so I can kind of play it. And then I have, since there's 4 switches, I have one of the switches is resetting the Euclidean circle. So the sequencer is doing like 8 triggers to the Euclidean circle, and that is 16 steps circle. So if I add one more trigger from the sequencer, every turn of the sequencer, the will go 1 step, well, advance 1 step extra. So it will be, the rhythm won't be as repetitive, and it will be much longer. And then I can go in and hit the reset button. That's also one of my switches. So at any point in this sequence, I can have the circle to go back to 0, and then it ends up being in a different position again in relation to the sequencer. So I can get a lot of variation from fairly.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
do you think?
I'll stop talking about that, because talking about a patch is kind of boring, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not. It's just a little bit of a different language that, well, I was saying that the other day. It's kind of like we're speaking another language anyways, as it is. But do you think that's the patch that you'll be recording for the CV FREQS Online Live Edition? Something along that?
Nope.
No, are you going to do something
I'll
new?
do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, because part of this is actually going, a refined part of this will be recorded for a collaboration I have with Nigel Mulaney. So we've been working on an album for some time, and that's something I'm super excited about.
Me too.
As I told him, and he gets things. He's at a very different level when it comes, well, musically compared to me.
Yeah, I loved his live set. I finally got to see on the Leeds Live Edition this past couple months.
Yeah, and he's also recorded. He has recorded a small set with a lot of my modules as well. If you want to look at some demoing, sort of. So there's one video where he's just he's playing for, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. And then there's another video where he's explaining the patch and what he's been doing with it. And a thing that I like with him when with what he's doing with modular, it's so easy to, if you have a distortion, you turn everything on 11 or something, and you think, okay, this is a distortion. But what he's doing with a lot of the modules, he's kind of just coloring things. I think very tasteful, in a very tasteful way.
Yeah.
So
when I met him at Synthfest, he was explaining the magneto to me some more. Yeah, he knows a lot about that stuff.
he knows a lot about most stuff when it comes to music tech, I would say. And also the way he's using modular in combination with like symphonic orchestras and all sorts of things.
Yeah, I want to do that too. I really do.
Yeah, it's like he showed me the first time I went over to visit him. He lives just outside Leeds. He had done the trailer music for Aquaman. He's done most of the trailer music for all the Marvel stuff, all the way from Iron Man and all the way to Aquaman. So he showed me how he had used my wave folder on the acoustic strings, just to get a little bit of grit and edge there in a way that if you listen to that music, it's hard to know that it's there, but if you know where it is, you can hear it.
Very subtleties. Just
yeah. And that way of thinking. One of the reasons I went into Eurorack is that at first I said many times that I thought it was a really stupid system with no way of saving things and everything on cables on the front. But I just love it. I also thought that this could be a very good way to get outboard gear for my studio, as the infrastructure itself doesn't have to be very expensive. Because if you compare a module to, say, a System 500 thing, and the module is cheaper, and then if you go to some kind of 19-inch rack studio equipment thing, it's even more expensive normally, and it consumes a lot of space. So some of the modules I've done are kind of geared towards studio use. Like you have my limiter as well, don't you?
the attenuator.
No, the limit. You don't.
Oh
no,
yeah,
maybe,
the 2 HP one. Yeah, E1.
Yeah, the one with three knobs on it.
Wait.
Maybe you don't have that. I don't know.
No, I don't have that.
Let's see. So it's. Can you see the one next to the AV1?
Yep. So the AV1 is the attenuator. Let's just go through and tell them the wave folder there. The one I was just talking about is the expander for the wave folder, the E1, which has the limit on there. The attenuator, the limit, this one, and
zero.
Zero.
That's a zero difference trigger module or whatever. It can be used to do zero difference detection. So it's from the start, I designed it to be used together with the switch, but you could also use that to add jitter to signals. So make, say, clock pulses go randomly a little bit late if you use it together with the
Yeah.
LFO. And then there's a switch, and then there's the shape that we talked about, and then there's a 4-band distortion.
What I especially like about that 4-band distortion, real quick, is that those knobs that you used are so reminiscent of actual knobs on the electric guitar. So, right? They cost a little bit
Yeah,
more.
well, that's yeah, a bit, but that's the main idea, because it's designed to work as if it was 4 parallel tube amps. So why not put some knobs there that make you think of tube amps?
Yeah, it's so cool.
So yeah,
I hope that you can make one of those pedals.
but as
We're lagging a little bit
yeah,
now.
we can get back to that a bit, but the limit, a thing I've been using that for lately is to get line levels to URAC levels. So I use that for connecting my sound card out through that and then into the URAC, because the limit has up to 5 times amplification. Normal line level is about 1 volt, and URAC is 5 volts, so you need to amplify it 5 times. And then you will also get a little bit of compression at the same time. So if you, which could be good if you bring, say, samples or stuff into the URAC, because acoustic sounds can sometimes sound a bit weak together with synth sounds or analog stuff, analog synth sounds.
Yeah.
So you can get a bit of compression.
It's,
so
my levels
I
are
use that
over.
as an interface thing. And I also know that Nigel got one of these modules, and then he ordered, was it 2 or 3 more? So
very useful.
He uses it. Yeah, it's very useful because it will brick wall limit to ±5 volt. So he uses it on the way out from the system. So you don't have to risk that you will hit the front of house or mixer or something with ±10 volts that could distort a lot on the input stages on the mixers. So in this way, you kind of limit it to maximum, what's that, plus 14 dB, I think. Which is a lot anyway, but it won't kill anything.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I never know about those extremely high voltages. I have some that push it a little bit sometimes, and but it never blows up.
You were talking about the distortion. This is one of the first.
The first pedal
with the milled top, because I as soon as I build them, they get sold.
yeah.
So I don't have anyone with a printed top. I had to build more one.
What year did you make that one first?
2014.
The Merg, yeah.
Yeah.
What's
so
that?
This was the first version of it.
Oh, wow. It's really big.
A baking thing.
Looks like something you'll see in a museum. Like, it looks really old.
It is really old. I got that from my mother when I was moving away from home, so I would be able to bake my own bread.
Oh.
And yeah.
That's so Swedish. Wow. Amazing. Cutting my plum trees, baking my own bread. I loved how you press your own coffee and all that too. You're always putting up interesting things, so you make your own jam. Oh, and my favorite thing was the soda, but you don't have anything to do with the Julmust soda. But such a cool culture over there, the Swedish culture.
Julmust, no, I have.
we don't bake our own bread over here. Wow. I mean, I don't.
It's so much better. Well, I have, to be honest, I haven't done it that much lately either because I've been building modules instead.
It's just a funny thing to put
Yeah,
electronics in a bread tin
yeah.
pan.
I've had a few people who wanted to buy this, but I told them that, well, this is a crappy first concept prototype, so no, you
Yeah, it was
don't get
personal
that.
to you too.
And
Can't get another one.
yeah, in a way, nah, well, I don't care that much. but speaking of building things, I just finished this today.
Yeah, beautiful.
A case.
Mm-hmm. So shiny.
So it's super shiny and kind of a sunburst. So I don't know if you can see this, but so I built this for my friend Damon Frost.
With your own power built in, because you built your own power, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I open this up, this is exactly the same type of chassis that I have when I fly off to things, because it's built to be lightweight, cheap to buy, and fit in an overhead compartment. So with it has plus minus power in it, 4 amps on both sides, which means that it could at least power 4 rows. So it powers 2 rows like this, and then you have power out as well. So that can power a passive chassis. So you only have to pay for the power once.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And it's including the lid and so on, it's 4.4 kilos. I couldn't get it lower, but not without risking the structural integrity and so on. And then when I did the backplanes, I've seen some of the bus boards. Some have a bunch of connectors in the middle because they don't want to use so much PCB material. But then you can't reach if you just have the connectors in the middle.
Yeah, they got to take everything out.
Like
yeah.
to put, yeah. It just, I hate that.
It's pain. But you can fit a lot in there. So how many connectors are there? 24?
18.
18.
I think it's 18.
It's a lot. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Lightweight is very important.
So,
I get so exhausted carrying the things. I got to get a wheelie cart.
This is also an important thing. A very nice, soft, cheat leather handle. Because if you're walking for some distance,
it hurts.
You have these, yeah. So this is fairly comfortable. And I was also going to put these, what do you call them, like strap locks, like you have on guitars, on these screws. So you can have a thin, lightweight guitar band and just click them in there.
Yeah. Cool.
And this thing, I plan to put all the drawings and stuff online for people to build.
That's nice.
It's fairly cheap, actually. Well, the thing that costs it's not the power. The power costs 12 euros a piece, plus VAT. So that's not much. But the thing that cost are the rails and butterfly locks and all the other little things. But still, this thing with all the material and stuff will be material at just under 200 euros or about $200.
It's pretty good.
And then you can have something yeah, with your own paint job and so on. So I've been experimenting with that. Oh, I have to show you this. This is really horrible. This is a sparkly,
A
well,
faceplate?
a little bit of a test piece, just a test piece.
Oh, that's pretty.
Because I would like to see if I can do a tasteless, super sparkly chassis as well.
Oh, well, flashy. You remember Ross's pink one?
Oh yeah, horrible.
Well, I thought it was
But
funny.
it's also for repainting guitars. I think I've told you that I've been saving material for a while, chopping down trees and sawing up timber and so on, and drying the woods. And now it's dry enough, so I can start building guitars as well.
That's exciting.
So then, yeah, I have more than one project going, I guess.
Yeah, always. It's so much fun to do stuff. Well, I
Yeah.
think we should wrap it up. I'll play a little bit of this switch before we go and what it's doing.
Yeah, do that.
So that's just at the kind of normal speed. Push the latch button in the middle. Slow it down. I really like to do slower stuff. But all the CVs are inputs, the 4 CV inputs, right?
Yeah, yeah. They are to control the switches, and if you push them, you will override the CV, incoming CV.
So just hold it down. Hold both of them down. I like how it can go really fast too. But yeah.
Yeah, I tried to see how fast it could switch cleanly, and it was at about 300 kilohertz.
Wow.
So, and then I thought, okay, then this meets my ideas of how it should work, because I also it's also you can switch slow stuff with it, but I also designed it for this audio rate switching where you can go in and cut away pieces of a audio signal and replace it with something else at super high audio rate if you want to, or you could also at high audio rate reorganize your chassis if you connect it the right way, and that could be very strange.
Man, your stuff is strange, but it's great. It's really great, and thank you so much for being my guest today, my first Zoom guest. So it's a little rough, and of course it's live because we're talking live.
My pleasure.
Yeah. All right, done. So we'll see you back in the real world, or no? See you on the 5th of December for your live set. I'm really excited, and I'll put the link in there about our concert coming up. Okay. Anything else you want to say?
That will be fun. Okay.
Yeah.
No, not at the moment. Well, no.
Okay.
No. Then I'll talk for forever. You know me.
Yeah, it's so soothing though. I love listening to people talk, especially about weird things I don't fully understand. and modules
Well,
particularly?
I could say that I'm a little bit excited because I just I have a new module coming. It's not a new one. It's it's an elements, but a micro version of it, an atom. So I will be getting one of those from After Later Audio
Oh, cool.
in the US. Yeah, because I saw Gas Williams was doing his show, was it 2 weeks ago or something, I guess. And he just got an Elements and he showed it to me. I was talking to him and I thought this seems like a really good module to fit
Elements,
my
that's mutable.
workflow
That's a
like
mutable one,
perfect.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like a rings on steroids.
Oh, I forgot to ask you.
But the Elements
Go ahead.
Elements it's so big, so if I should travel with it, it's way too big. So this atoms from After Later Audio is, I think it's 18 HP instead of, I don't know how big they are.
Yeah, I just was gonna ask if you wanted to build the
Okay,
Shakmat
there's
kit.
some latency here. Okay,
Yeah.
you're going to ask me something, so go ahead.
Yeah, if you wanted to build the Shakmat kits with us, we're doing that workshop. And actually, you helped me learn soldering a little bit, so I'm really excited because this will be my first soldering demo workshop that I'm giving. So, yeah, you can join in if you want. We're building Shakmat kits, any of them.
I have one. I have one clock thing from Shakmat that that I built, and yeah, I'm not using it at the moment.
Well, if you want to join in, that's the same day as your live set with the concert, but it's earlier in the day. But
I think it will probably be hard with me over here. But well, thanks anyway.
We're starting at 10 a.m. my time, which is 3 p.m. UK time. And then, so that would be 4 p.m. your time.
Oh.
So you could manage. Well, just throwing it out there, but let's close up. Let's close up our talk because we've been running on for a while. But I'll go upload it now, and everybody can see your modules and check them out because they're awesome and you're awesome. So,
oh, thank you.
All right, Don. Okay, see you soon. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay warm over there and drink some Jewel Mousse for me.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, Don. See you.
Yep.